Come on down, we're gonna sit around. We're gonna get into your business. Get into your business. Get into your business.
Welcome to the Small Business Miracles Podcast. My name is Jeff Randolph. This small business podcast is brought to you by EAG Advertising and Marketing. We're here to talk about marketing. We're also here to celebrate entrepreneurs, and we have one in the studio with us today. I'm so excited to have you here. Freelance Rockstar, business coach for creative freelancers, speaker, copywriter, founder of the Freelance Exchange of Kansas City, Julie Cortés. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
I feel good about that intro. That was like you have so many things to talk about, and it's exciting to talk about it. Can I start with the Freelance Exchange part, because
Sure.
That goes way back now. Like that's not quite 25 years, but It's been you've been. I think that's how I met you. And
is it?
And that makes me elderly, but not you somehow. And I don't know why that's the case. So. Yeah, so the Freelance Exchange, for those people who don't know, tell us what it is and kind of what you do and why you said this thing must exist.
Sure. So early on in my freelancing career, I discovered that there was a void in education, community, and even respect for the self-employed, specifically in our industry of advertising and marketing. And looking back on my career now, apparently I've made it my life's mission to do something about it. So in 2003, I formulated this idea to do a club specifically for freelancers. So similar to like Ad Club, AIGA, AMA, what have you, there was nothing for freelancers. So in 2003, we got created, and we serve as the city's best resource for freelancers in advertising and marketing, not just creative types, but anybody who works in the industry, to fulfill that void, to give them the continuing education, to give them the community, and then hopefully by default, helping them gain the respect that they deserve. And so we cater to them by hosting regular events, and we offer opportunities, whether it's education, networking, mentoring, promotional, what have you. And then by default, we've also become the city's best resource to find freelance talent, right? So we cater to that audience as well, for those people who are looking for graphic designers, writers, photographers, web developers, what have you. They're all in the group.
Yeah, I know it goes way back. The American Marketing Association that I've been associated with for a very long time, we looked around and said, man, there are like 11 or 13 marketing focused organizations in Kansas City. And, I want to say you were kind of instrumental in pulling together a lot of the presidents of those, and so that we could all talk and not step on each other's toes. Like there was great coordination that was going on then. So first, thank you for that. That was great. I do love the Freelance Exchange website because we refer people, like EAG will refer people to the Freelance Exchange if you're not ready for us, if we don't fit our ideal client profile or something like that. We will happily send people your way. And it's super fun because on the front page of the site, it's got talent, need talent. Great audience segmentation right away. And I love that. So yeah, so thank you for such a great resource. Where does it go from here? What do you see in the future?
That's a great question. For so long, people would say, the future is freelance, but no, the future is here and now. Freelancing is huge right now. And whether by choice or by default, a lot of people are freelancing. And so, ideally, I would love to take this concept to other cities and open up chapters, because we are the only one.
Yeah.
There have been other similar clubs that have popped up, and even one that had been going for about 5 years longer than us. They recently closed down as well. So I'm hoping, to gain some energy and some traction and get some sort of like national overhead, so we can have that national backing organization and then take it to other cities.
I look forward to that. That would be great. Good concept. Let's talk about the rest of you, because the intro went on for a long time. Coaching, you're copywriter by day, freelance rockstar at night. You've been the business owner and the rockstar behind Julie Cortés Freelance Rockstar since 98. Tell me about the business and what you do and who you're for.
And all of the things.
All of those things.
All of the things. So I started freelancing very young, right? I had lost my job like many people in advertising and marketing.
Oh, that happens. Yeah. That is just a thing that will happen.
That is just a thing, but nobody warned me, right? And of course I was devastated, and of course young female, and it was hard to find a job back then, and in those times. And so I was like, well, screw it. I'm just going to go do my own thing. And I did. And so I opened up my own freelance copywriting business where I would write advertising and marketing materials for ad agencies, design shops, large corporations, small businesses, what have you. And then that's when I discovered this void and created the Freelance Exchange. Now, obviously, that is all volunteer.
Right.
I'd love to get paid for it someday, but I just don't. Yep. And but from there, like my career has just pivoted, and I like to call them plot twists because you never know what's coming.
As a writer, I would feel disappointed if you referred to that any other way.
Yeah, I like to call them plot twists. And so, people started having me into their college level courses, hey, can you come talk about freelancing and teach the students all about it? Sure. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just scratching the surface here. Yeah. This needs to be a course. Why is this not a course in school? And so I developed my own course called Freelancing 101, got picked up by the Kansas City Art Institute, where I taught as an adjunct professor for several years. And then so many of my colleagues were like, oh, Julie, I need to come sit in on your class. And I'm like, there's no room. You
can't do that.
You just can't do that. We're a small private school, right? You've got to enroll. You've got to go back to school. And nobody really wanted to do that. So I was like, oh, Cortés, light bulb moment. Why don't you open up a business coaching arm to your business and offer these same lessons both to newbies, people who are starting to freelance, as well as those who've been at it for a while but maybe are struggling, right? And again, just one thing has led to another, right? So now I do events, I do coaching, and I'm also a public speaker. So going to speak on stages near and far, all about freelancing, and I just love it.
Man, that is so exciting. Do you have like for the coaching, speaking, copywriting kind of thing? Do you have that ideal client profile for the business coaching? Who's the right person who absolutely needs to talk to you?
They've got to be bold. They've got to be badass. I mean,
if you go anywhere with a Rockstar in the name, you definitely need to be bold.
Yeah, absolutely. Badass. So, and that wasn't necessarily a name that I gave myself. It was a moniker that people just started calling me. And I was like, oh, I better live up to this name. Right? Yeah. And so I did. I did own it. And I've always loved rock music too. So it just kind of fit in. And with my style. And if we're talking copywriting, like, because obviously there are going to be different clients for each of these. If we're talking copywriting, then I am looking for people who are willing to push the envelope, who are willing to be bold in their advertising and marketing. Because that's the whole reason I got into this business, because there's so much bad advertising out there. I'm the one who grew up recording the Super Bowl just to fast forward through the game to watch the commercials, right?
100%.
So my whole thought is, if we're inundating people with these sales messages, don't we at least owe it to them to entertain them?
Yes.
Right? So that's kind of my whole concept. I'm looking for people who are willing to push the envelope with their advertising and marketing to achieve their goals. And then conversely, with the business coaching and the speaking, obviously, I am looking for freelancers and solopreneurs. I definitely cater more towards those in creative businesses. So if advertising and marketing, great, but even like fine artists have come to me to look for help. So I tend to look at those people a little bit differently because we think differently. Creatives have different brains, right? And so I get in there and I help them. Okay, this is not as scary as you think. Let me provide you with the tools and make it more attainable for you.
Yeah. So that I'm going back a little bit to that being bold and standing out and being creative. I had a mentor early on in my career that I worked with who said that good advertising should make your palms sweat. Yeah. That it should stand out. It shouldn't just blend into everything else that you see. Yeah. And I've seen, many examples of that kind of thing throughout my career, I know, where, sometimes you're lucky enough to have clients that get that and go, okay, we can't just be like the company that we have our eye on that we're competing against. Right. It has to be different. Yeah. And I remember kind of preparing for a course, and they were talking about the case was all about the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Bureau, the What Happens in Vegas Stays in Vegas campaign, which amazing, memorable kind of branded advertising that stood out. And the legend that I heard from this was that they start pitching it, and the head of the Convention and Visitors Bureau just laid down on the floor, and they presented the rest of it to him, like, showing it to him while he's laying down on the ground, because it stood out that much. Like it was such a core concept and like groundbreaking kind of thing. I don't know if you've had those kind of moments where you're trying to drag clients kicking and screaming toward that creative breakthrough moment, but that's one of those legends that I've heard. So.
Absolutely. You know, there are people who are willing to do that, and there are people who are not, and it's just a matter of how much are you willing to push them. You know, when you're a freelancer, you only have so much pull. And
Right.
at the end of the day, I don't want to say the customer is always right, but the customer always pays your bills.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
There's something to that. Yeah.
There is something to that. So, you know, you can fight, you can help. I don't even want to say fight. You can help try and educate and guide them in the right direction. But at the end of the day, they've got to be happy and to the point where they will pay you.
Yeah, yeah. I think this kind of dovetails into the next question I was going to ask, which is all about AI. You know, attention spans are down. People will say that you don't read copy anymore. AI is happy to spit out all kinds of things from your next ad campaign concept to the you know, your next blog. How do you approach copywriting and that creative energy and even, you know, as it relates to how you coach a freelancer, how does the world of AI play into that for you?
That's an excellent question because, you know, at first everybody was like, AI is coming for our jobs,
Right,
you know, and
right.
so many people pushed back. And AI did come for our jobs. I mean, let's be honest, you know, especially in the writing world. I mean, that hit first, you know, ChatGPT. Oh, why do I need to pay somebody to do that? Right.
They can give me a blog. That
Exactly.
is there.
And it's wicked smart. You know, a lot of it is good, but a lot of it is not good either. So I think having that human points of contact in there, you know, to help get in there, make sure it sounds human, make sure the facts are accurate,
Right.
you know.
It's not hallucinating a fact that it picked up from some shady website that it's crawled. Yeah.
Exactly. But, you know, now even I have clients coming to me saying it's okay if you use AI because originally I was like, oh, I got to put this in my contract that I'm not using AI because I want to be authentic. And now they're like, it's okay if you do, just, you know, X, Y, and Z are the parameters, you know, kind of thing. So it's been interesting. I think our industry definitely has taken a hit from AI.
Oh, sure.
And I see it even on the coaching end because, you know, people are like, oh, I'm not getting the business anymore that I thought I would. I think it's because of AI. Well, okay, when people can't afford to pay their bills, they can't afford a business coach either. So we're kind of seeing the repercussions, you know, on top of everything else that's going on in the world.
Yeah, I generally will say something like, you know, marketing is both an art and a science. And AI is great at the science of marketing. It can crunch numbers, it can do all kinds of things. What it can't do is the creative side. And because it's not human, how would it know what chicken tastes like? We don't know. But beyond that, it can't, you know, skate to where the puck is going to be. It doesn't provide thought leadership because it works with whatever is out there. And there's some amount of projection it can do, but it doesn't have that human understanding and ability to relate to humans the way that we can. And so, but, you know, treat it as a tool. And I'm glad to see that, you know, some clients are able to recognize the importance of it as a tool, but it's not a substitute for a human who understands your audience and can apply the creative, that is that magical spark that not everybody has.
Exactly.
If every human had creativity, which yes, technically every human has creativity, but to different degrees, right? The clients that you work with in the freelance world are creative in the most creative sense of the word. Like they're crazy creative.
Yes.
So that's an interesting kind of point on seeing that some people are willing to use that as a tool, as they should. But it needs more. You need a body. You need someone who's good at this.
Right. Absolutely. I'm totally stealing your chicken line. That was amazing.
Oh, please do. Except I think I have to give credit to The Matrix for this. I frequently go back to sci-fi films and go, haven't we learned anything? Have we learned nothing from this? Crazy. I want to get into just kind of the entrepreneurial world for a second and talk about because you coach freelancers, you coach people in this, but you're also a business owner.
Yes.
Entrepreneurs frequently get trapped in that working in the business and not on the business. So do you have advice for that next up and coming rock star on how to balance there and get the most out of it?
Yes, this is such good timing. And I just had a webinar about this earlier this week. So
Yes, please give us all the content.
all
from
of
this
the
webinar.
thing, I called it step into boss mode.
Yeah.
How to level up your business, your solo business. And I think there's, you hit the nail on the head. Like, there are people who work in their business all the time, but not on their business. And for those who don't understand those two concepts, let me explain real quick. Working in your business, to me anyway, is doing the stuff that pays the bills, right? You're doing the client work, you're doing the things that you have to do. Working on your business are the things that are going to help you grow and get you to the next level. And they may be things that you want to do or need to do, right? So like I keep a laundry list of bullet points. I have a little Post-it note that I keep next to me and constantly jotting down ideas. Oh, I need to do this, or I want to do this kind of thing. But I have to carve out time in order to do that. Most freelancers don't. Like whether they're too busy or not, or don't have enough work, right? When they're too busy, they're like, oh, I don't have time to do that. And their business is going to suffer because they may be busy now, but 2 weeks from now, they may not be busy, right? And you constantly have to be working on your business. And working on your business is, more of the things like self-promotion, new business development, even like bookkeeping, things that you may not want to do, but still need to do to help get you to be where you need to be. And I always say when you don't have enough business, like flip the narrative in your head instead of being like depressed about that, view it as like a silver lining, shift the narrative and like, oh my gosh, I've been granted the gift of time. And now look at all these things on my list that I have time to get done, kind of thing. And even if you do have some cadence of paid work going on, but let's say you've got half an hour here, 2 hours there that are free. Again, use that time productively and get things done as opposed to, I'm going to go watch TV or I'm going to go have a play date or whatever you want to do, like actually be working in your business or on your business during your office hours every single day.
Yeah. And then somehow find time to balance that out. So
of course.
You can go watch TV or something if you possibly can.
If you can. I think having some sort of consistency is really important. So I encourage people to have a schedule, like whether you put aside an hour a day or half a day on Fridays or, whatever that looks like for you. It depends on how much you want to grow your business. Quite honestly, there are people who do half days, half day in, half day out. Or in or on their business.
Half day in, half day on. Yeah,
they do.
Concept, yeah.
If they really want to grow their business. And you just have to be consistent. And that means even when you're super busy, you like stick to that schedule and that's going to help you get further ahead.
Outstanding advice. Yeah. And it sounds like there's a webinar out there that could be for you that you may be able to attend.
It might be on my YouTube channel right now.
It might be on the YouTube channel. We'll tell everybody where they can find that shortly. But first, you have to go through the lightning round. Are you ready to go through and experience the lightning round?
Maybe. Give me just a second.
I'll give you a moment to compose yourself and get everything all situated.
There's no hot sauce that comes along with this.
No,
right?
it's like Hot Ones on YouTube, but it's not.
Okay.
Because we don't eat chicken. That's really it. My first one, you are no stranger to awards. You've got Innovator of the Year, Women's Business Advocate of the Year, Top 15 Coaches in Kansas City, the Addies, the Fountains, the Ambits, insert name of any award here. What's the award you were most proud to receive and why? What gave you that special, man, this one means something to me?
Oh, that's
like they all mean something. But
right.
What's that one that you just really are super excited about?
That's a great question because there are local, regional, and national awards that I've won. And you would think instinctively that it was the national ones. And of course, those were great. And I'm very excited to get those. I think more on the local level, it was from the state of Kansas when they gave me, Women Business of the Year. And I was just shocked. Like out of all of, these women business owners, I was one of several who got this distinction. But what's even more interesting too is like my focus is not on women business owners. I'm open to anybody and everybody, know. However, if you take a step back and you look at, who's in the freelance exchange, who serves on the board, who are my coaching clients, like who shows up to my events, more often than not, it is women, and so I wear that with pride, being able to say that I won this award for something that I wasn't even trying to do. Yeah,
you would be in great company with women business owners in Kansas. That is no small feat. Congratulations on that one. Well deserved.
Thank you.
Did you have a mentor or a coach who gave you a piece of advice that sticks with you to this day, something that you kind of think back on all the time and go, yeah, that's relevant nonstop.
That's it. Sure. Yeah. A few years back, I hired a business coach, Elise Bennett, and she's fantastic. I've been following her for 20 plus years. Mm-hmm. She's known as the marketing mentor. And I finally hired her. She's not cheap. But I was like, all right, get me all of the things. Mm-hmm. And her one piece of advice, similar to the working in or on your business kind of tips, it was set aside time to work on your marketing every single day.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a game changer for me. Okay, what does that look like? Because it's not just social media. A lot of freelancers like instinctively go to social media, but it's also your website. It's also email marketing, all of the things. What does that, I got to fill an hour. What am I doing with this, right? And it's been a huge game changer for me.
Yeah, very much a very specific working on the business kind of suggestion that is going to pay dividends if you continually, and to your earlier point, set aside a specific time during the week or during the day or whatever, where that's the thing you're focusing on.
Yes.
That attention will pay off in dividends. Good. Always easy for me to talk about, how important marketing is. That's not a stretch. Let me ask a food question. I always seem to ask food questions on here. It's probably me. You do a lot of lunch and learn kind of presentations as well. You do coffee meetups, you network, and you're out there all the time. Do you have a favorite working meeting spot that includes food?
Oh, no.
You don't really? Is it really just I like to get out and experience all the new things, or do you have places that you go back to?
Well, I mean, for the Freelance Exchange, we have our programs director and our social directors. They're in charge of that and finding all the meetup spots and whatnot. So I don't go for the food. I go for the content, right? If it's a lunch and learn, I'm going for the content. And more often than not, I'm just getting the salad or whatever, for lunch. But no, not for meeting places.
Interesting. Okay.
I know. I'm not in it for the food.
Not in it for the food.
I love food. Don't get me wrong. And I do have my favorite restaurants, but that has nothing to do with our lunch and learns.
I'm curious. We'll save that for the after show and find out where you go for food.
Okay.
You also have done a lot of those showcase kind of things. When you're looking for a venue for some of those, like all of the artist showcase things, what are you looking for in a venue that all of the venues who are paying attention to this will go, oh, I need to make sure we highlight this.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a member showcase every year for the Freelance Exchange, and we're always looking for, location is important, whether it's in Overland Park or downtown, because that seems to be, where most people are in our membership as well as our target audience when it comes to the commerce and small businesses and whatnot. So we're looking for a big open space where we can have these exhibitor booth. I call them booths, but they're really tables.
Table, yeah.
And good lighting is good. Good parking is good.
Parking, underrated. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. There have been some times where people are circling, the lot, 12 different times, and so you want to have it be really accessible, quite honestly, but something fun, something exciting, something with good lighting and good parking.
Yeah. The good parking one reminds me of Joby. That is one of those clients that we work with in the 18th and Vine district. Great venue. I don't know. We'll get to that. I'll brush right past it so I can get to a much more important question in the lightning round. And that is, so it would be wrong if I didn't give you an opportunity to talk about this, because I know this is the kind of thing that you talk passionately about. It's one of your speaking gigs now, and it's rightfully something that needs to be talked about. Anti-Semitism. It has evolved quite a bit, which is first. I'm going to ask about the evolution and kind of what you're seeing in that. I'm going to ask you about the conflict that you feel in between, talking about it on LinkedIn versus talking about it on Facebook, because, you're more vocal on the Facebook channel than you are on the LinkedIn channel, but it's such an important topic that needs to be, kind of out in the light for people. So let me just start with throw all of that out there and see where you take that, and we'll go from there.
That was a bunch of different questions.
There's so many questions. That breaks every interviewer rule that you would ever see. But I just you've done so much work around this and trying to help educate and help people understand. how do you coach someone that they've stepped across a line or they've gone too far and may not even know it?
Right.
So,
delicate balance. Yeah. So the last couple of years have been very interesting and very eye-opening. And I've ended up in this position that I never dreamt I would be in. Of course, I never thought the world would be in this position either, A
plot twist?
Yeah. A plot twist. And I'm the last person on this earth that probably should be talking about this subject, but I'm bold and I'm going to use my voice for good. So here I am. So the first thing I think you brought up was the evolution of it.
Yeah.
So there are three forms of Jew hatred. By way of history, it's anti-Judaism, anti-Semitism, and today it's anti-Zionism. Now, a lot of people will say that's not, directly Jew hatred, and to an extent I agree. However, one thing we cannot deny is that anti-Zionism leads towards harm, violence, harassment, murder of Jews. So those are the three forms of Jew hatred. I think you brought up LinkedIn.
Yeah, well, because I know that you are more vocal about pointing things out and being able to recognize and call things out on Facebook.
Yes,
and I think rightly so, right? Because Facebook is that
personal.
It's like you have that awkward kind of line to walk between I am my brand and then I am also a person.
Right.
And so that's a challenging thing. But Facebook, you are more vocal there, yeah? Yeah,
yes, absolutely. Facebook and my Instagram stories, I'm very vocal as well. Of course, I now have that limited to a closed audience because, or close friends, because I have had some bad actors come after me. People I didn't even know, too. So it's been really interesting. So LinkedIn, I try to keep that mostly professional. I feel like that's the professional network.
Sure.
I mean, it even bugs me when other people talk more personal stuff on there, too. So I generally don't talk about it there unless I'm doing something like a presentation or something. Yeah, because you just never know. And in fact, somebody saw my last post on LinkedIn when I was giving that presentation and she's like, and she didn't respond. She didn't engage with the post at all, but she showed up in my direct messages and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Julie, I'm Jewish. Thank you so much for speaking out. Let's go have lunch. I'd love to talk to you more." So you just never know who you're reaching. And at the same point in time, I also lose followers every time I post about it in these public spaces.
On LinkedIn or
on LinkedIn, on Instagram, yeah. And Facebook I did initially, and then I went and I culled my friends list. So now I'm the one doing the unfollowing. So I really wanted Facebook to be a safe space for me and to be able to find the people who I truly trust and feel like they are allies and are willing to listen, because that's just it. A lot of people just aren't willing to listen right now. And they try to tell us what anti-Semitism is and isn't. And I'm like, nah, you wouldn't do that with any other minority, would you? And if you didn't, you're kind of a edit that out.
We earn our explicit rating. That's how we feel about it.
But yeah, it's been mind blowing to see. I have friends who would stand up for any other minority and scream and shout, and I have done the same thing. But when it comes to Jews, they won't say a thing, and it's just freaking mind blowing. I'm like, I don't understand. Okay, maybe you don't see it. Let me point it out. Okay, maybe you don't understand it. Let me point it out. Let me educate.
Yeah.
And that's where I am today.
The let me point out where the bias that you don't seem to recognize is important, right? So that you're not making somebody feel like you're coaching, you're guiding, but you're not saying you're a terrible human and I hate you, and you're helping try to move them in a better direction so that they're not unintentionally being biased, racist, anti-Semitic, bigoted in some way, right?
Because something I've learned in the last 2.5 years really is that most people, and I will say this, even Jews, cannot recognize anti-Semitism unless it's a swastika smacking them across the face, right? Or a Hitler salute or something.
That there is a very, very high bar to
what
that looks like, right?
To what that looks like. But Jew hatred is the oldest hatred, yay us, in the book. And so it's had so much time to evolve, right? And change, even in the last 2.5 years, there's been new things that people are coming up with. And so I started writing this series on Facebook about decoding modern day anti-Semitism, because again, I don't think people understand. I'm learning things on the daily. Well, what does this mean? And why are so many people talking about it? And then I go and research and, hey, why do anti-Semites say this? And so I'm getting educated and forwarding that on to other people as well.
I'll come back to your LinkedIn kind of thing, because there is that connection between you as person and then you as brand, because you are your brand. Like, you live your brand. Your hair says your brand. Like, everything about you is your brand. And one of the things that we see in the modern marketing landscape these days is, should a brand take a stand? And some, like, pick Penzeys Spices, pick Hobby Lobby, pick Chick-fil-A. All of these brands that have very set thoughts and a point of view, and you then have to come up with, okay, should we take a stand? What's at stake if we don't? What's at stake if we do? And the what's at stake if we do is, I could lose some amount of customer. All I want is a great chicken sandwich. Can I not have it on a Sunday? And, those are kinds of things that these days, I think the wisdom we're seeing is your brand should take a stand. If it resonates with your target audience, if it is something that is meaningful and is a big connector for you, if it tells your brand story, take that stand. Know what the result could be. Know what could happen if you do that, and make sure that you're willing to, have that consequence if there is a consequence there. But you could also at the same time create some really rabid brand fans by doing it. So if I word vomit all of that out and say, okay, so your LinkedIn thing, how do you feel about the LinkedIn thing? Is it worth taking a stand as your brand on LinkedIn?
That's a great question. And again, something that I mull over, time and time again. And if you were to ask my husband, he'd be like, no, absolutely not. But he's a little bit more conservative in that regard, and I'm to the point now where I feel like it has already affected my business. At the end of the day, do I want to work with people who are anti-Semitic? Right? And so I drop hints here and there. I don't talk about the war. I talk about anti-Semitism. I talk about bigotry, right? That should not be controversial. And yet it is, even to the people who claim they're these social justice warriors and fight for all minorities. When it comes to Jews, that doesn't apply apparently. But I've gotten to the point where, again, if somebody doesn't want to work with a person because they're Jewish, then I don't want to work with them. And so I drop little hints here and there. I've done it on LinkedIn, obviously. Instagram is primarily business, but every so often, I'll put up like this blue #blue square, which is the Stand Up to Jewish Hate campaign. And again, I lose followers every time I do. And I'm like, well, thanks for showing yourself the door. Thanks for letting me know who you are, and even on my website, there are tiny little hints here and there. And I even had to put an FAQ section in. Well, I do that anyway, like for who I want to coach and who I want to work with. And I was like, everybody is welcome here, no matter, race, religion, sex, gender, what have you. And I was like, unless you're a hateful bigot, then you are not welcome here.
I don't feel like that's an inappropriate requirement. I think that's an appropriate kind of thing to do. There should be at least that level.
There should be.
Where you shouldn't actively hate me if we're working together. That seems like a bad way to get off on a relationship.
Exactly. But what we're finding here today too is that people don't understand that they're bigoted. They don't see that they're anti-Semitic, and even if you try and tell them, they're just ignorance and arrogance is a deadly combination, right? And so it's been really, really difficult. And again, that's why I culled down my friends list on Facebook, because I need the people who are willing to listen to help try and empower them and educate them so they can go help make a difference, because it can't just come from me. Do
you have educational resources that you point people to, or are you just doing everything you possibly can to educate all along the way?
Yes, and yes.
Yes, and yes.
So the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, they provide a lot of great resources. There's also the, why am I blanking on their name? There's a bunch of resources, and there's like a hate glossary, a translate hate glossary. AJC, American Jewish Council, they put out a hate glossary, which is really great. There's a lot of Jewish influencers out there doing some excellent work. I've been, like I said, I'm writing this series on Facebook, which is open to the public. Those particular posts are if anybody wants to be educated. But I've written 30 so far on 30 different topics regarding anti-Semitism. And if I were to tell you that on my desktop, the amount of folders that I have, I could write over 100 of these things because, again, anti-Semitism has evolved so much. And again, I'm not just educating other people, I'm educating myself in the process.
Right.
But I'm putting in the work and I'm doing the research just like we should for all minorities, right? And help get the word out so we can get rid of this bigotry and get rid of this hate and get back to being kind, loving, decent, respectful people, right?
If you have 100 articles on your desktop and you've written them, I'm going to be interested in reading them because you're just that good. And with that, I will take you out of the lightning round. Congratulations!
Thank you.
This was a challenging lightning round. Thanks for hanging in there. And I know that topic is very passionate and close to your heart, and as well it should be. So. Glad we could help also shed some light on that.
Appreciate it.
Like we have been doing recently, since I have asked you so many questions, is if you have any question you would like to ask me just for to turn the tables on me, I am happy to answer that question. It can be about whatever you'd like, marketing, not marketing, wherever you want to go with that.
I'm going back to food.
I like it. Yes, please.
Okay, tell me your favorite restaurant for meeting spaces.
Oh man. I am a big fan. Like, if it seems as though I have to come into the office quite a bit, and so I'm typically looking for things in the crossroads. And there are a couple places now that I seem to be bouncing back and forth to for meetings. And I'll shout both of them out. One is Morning Rounds Bakery, which is just up in between, just near where we're at in the crossroads, just up a block or two from EAG. A healthcare worker, a nurse who said, I can bake. I don't need this. And she's been making some fantastic stuff. I am very much a fan. So I've been supporting that, and I probably should do I'm always going to walk back and forth because I need to burn those calories off. But it's so good. So good. The other place that I tend to find myself is Rochester Brewing and Roasting, which is, again, in the crossroads, walking distance from EAG. So much space to be able to be there. Not obviously great coffee. They also do beer. So if you need a beer at 8 a.m, I don't, but other people might. You can have that there, but so much space to work with and great atmosphere and great people as well. So that's where I find time.
And they have a private room too.
They
right?
do. Yeah, for events and stuff. I don't know if that's an event space for you.
We've been down there a couple times.
I assumed as much. So yeah, those two for me are ones. Great. Thanks for the question. I appreciate it. So tell everybody where they can find you if they want more information, if they need to learn about any of the things you're doing. What would you like to where would you like to send people for about anything?
For just about anything. First and foremost, my website, which is juliecortez.com, and that's Cortez with an S at the end, just to be wild and different. That's my business. That's where you'll find all things copywriting, speaking, and coaching. The Freelance Exchange of Kansas City is fxofkc.com. And then, of course, if you want to learn about anti-Semitism, come find me on Facebook. You can't miss me with my pink and purple hair and my profile picture, and it says Stand Up to Jewish Hate. And again, the series posts are set to public, so feel free to go read and educate and learn. And if you have any questions, feel free to holler.
All right. Freelance rockstar, business coach for creative freelancers, speaker, copywriter, founder of the Freelance Exchange, Julie Cortés. Thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me.
And that is our show. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating and review if we've earned that kind of thing. Drop us a line on the website at eagadv.com if you have any thoughts. Until then, we'll be out here helping entrepreneurs with another Small Business Miracle.
Talk about strategies and all the capabilities, building all your hopes, dreams, and all the possibilities. It ain't rocket surgery, but maybe it is. Come on down, we're gonna sit around, we're gonna get into your business, get into